Medrash Rabbah, in this week's parsha, before the Medrash starts explaining the different midrashim on the parsha, the Medrash brings, there's a halacha. What about if a person, Adam Yisrael, a person didn't daven, and he didn't daven, and he forgot to daven, he was busy, so then what should he do? So the Medrash says, if it's in the morning until chatzos, until midday, a person can still daven shachars. If it's in the afternoon until the evening, a person can daven mincha. If it's from the evening till the morning, then a person can daven mariv. And then the Medrash starts explaining the parsha of Nitzavim. What is the connection between halachas of the times of davening and the parsha of Nitzavim? We know parsha Nitzavim starts off Atem Nitzavim Hayom. It's right after the parsha of Kisaveh, after the 98 klalos. So then Moshe Rabbeinu makes a bris, he makes a covenant between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael. Atem Nitzavim Kulchem. Every person in Klal Yisrael has to forge this relationship, this bris, this covenant with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Baal HaTanya explains that when a person makes a bris, when two nations make a covenant, when two nations sign a declaration of understanding between them, it's always done at a time when it's a time when there is peace, and they're signing it so that if will come a time again when things deteriorate, when the relationship deteriorates, so we have to go back to this bris that we signed when things were good. When we realize that we have to come together, then we'll go back to that declaration and we'll realize what our obligations are one to the other. Same thing over here, says the Baal HaTanya. When Moshe Rabbeinu realized that Klal Yisrael was leaving the comfort zone of being in constant contact with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with the Hananiah Kavod, with everything else that surrounded them, with the Mon and the Be'er, everything that surrounded them during the time, the supernatural connection that they had with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu throughout the time of the Midbar was coming to an end. Now they're going to Eretz Yisrael, they're going to start living a natural life, and people may forget, people may start drifting away from their covenant. People will start drifting away from their connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this bris, this covenant, will return them to the points where they're supposed to be connected with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what the Baal HaTanya explains. The point of the bris, specifically now in this point of history, why Moshe Rabbeinu was doing this bris. Says the Shem Yishmuel, beautifully explained based on the words of the Baal HaTanya. If this is so we can understand the same thing as with tefillah. We know that when a person davens, it's not just saying words. It's not even just asking things from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tefillah is an opportunity to connect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. By talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, by feeling close, by becoming close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu through tefillah, a person connects and strengthens his connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just like the bris that Moshe Rabbeinu did, the big bris, the general bris. So every day a person has this opportunity to be able to connect properly with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the deepest possible way. The Medrash is asking a question. If a person finds himself in the morning, a person finds himself at a time of clarity, when the sun is shining and everything is beautiful and everything is understood and he has no questions, he can connect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What about if it's at night, when questions of faith start coming up in a person's brain? Do I really believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Is HaKadosh Baruch Hu really next to me? Does he really care about me? Is he really giving me everything that I need? Am I doing everything that I need to become close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu at a time when it's not so clear? Or in a time between those two periods, in a time of transition between Moshe Rabbeinu and Eretz Yisrael, between Midbar and Eretz Yisrael, in time of transition between morning and evening, in the afternoon. Can we also connect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Says the Medrash, yes. Whether it's in the morning, he should have for every time, for every period in the day, and for every period in a person's life. There's a tefillah, there's a prayer that makes sense, that works to connect you with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person just has to find the moment of connection and find the right, proper tefillah. If it's morning, he has to do shachars. If it's the afternoon, mincha. If it's the evening, marv. Whatever it is. But every time there's something that's possible, there's a possibility to connect. There's a possibility to connect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the deepest possible way. We're now coming to the last few days before Rosh Hashanah. It's a time when we know, Chazal teach us, it's a time of Yirshas Hashem Yimatzai, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is close to us. It's a time when we can reconnect and refine that connection. Reconnect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu on a way, each person individually, whether it be shachas, whether it be mincha, every person has their troubles and their tribulations. Every person has their own personal connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, their own personal discussion, their own personal conversation. Now it's the time to renew that conversation, to renew the bris of Atem Nitzavim Hayom, and the general bris, and also to renew the specific bris of the daily bris that we come by davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shachas, mincha, and mariv. Good Shabbos.